Yeah, well,
Nice
hi.
to finally meet you.
Yeah, you too. I guess do you want to just jump in, maybe like start with an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, we can do that. My name is Richard. I'm an incoming software engineer at Roblox, and I graduated from NYU recently, and I study computer science, and I do a little bit of YouTube on the side as well, just making fun videos about tech and vlogs and software engineering.
Cool. Awesome. And you are like based in LA, right?
I'm in LA, yeah. I grew up here, I was born here, and for now I'm here, but I'm gonna move to the Bay soon when I start my job.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool. And I guess because I know you're a transfer student, do you want to like kind of explain what that is and maybe like why you decided to go down that path?
Yeah, I guess the story starts a little bit earlier before I got into college. So I went through an early entrance program and I went to college pretty early on when I was 14. Um, yeah, and then I realized that after spending 2, 3 years at my university there, that there weren't as many undergraduate research opportunities for computer science, and that was one of the propelling reasons for why I wanted to look into a different school, transfer there, and then look for opportunities there. So that kind of sparked my reason of wanting to go to NYU. I actually applied to a few other schools on the East Coast, but NYU was one of the schools that accepted me, and I ended up going there.
Mm. Cool, cool. I guess being in New York, like, what do you think were the like major differences?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. I think the biggest difference is probably the weather. So in LA, you can wear t-shirts and jeans all year round, and you don't have to worry about layering up. But when I got to New York, I realized that you really need to kind of change up your wardrobe. You need to have at least 3 layers, preferably four in the winter. And so I realized that gloves are important, having a scarf, stuff like that that you would never really think about in LA, you have to worry about now. And another factor that's different is like the prices. So like food can cost easily twice as much in New York than in LA. So for example, if I wanted to get just like a meal out, I think in LA would probably average maybe like $8 to like 15, but in New York it'd be like 15 to 30. So, prices are really up there.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you also like studied abroad, right? Do you want to talk about that, like where you went and like how was it?
Yeah, sure. So I studied abroad when I after I went to NYU. And NYU has a really global presence, which means that they have a bunch of different like schools sprinkled around the globe. So I went to their Shanghai campus, NYU Shanghai, and I've always wanted to go to Shanghai or China in general because um, I'm Chinese or I'm Taiwanese, but I've always wanted to become more fluent in that language. And so I wanted to go there and, expand my cultural palette, just learn about the aspects of Chinese culture that I didn't get to, touch on when I was a child. So yeah, going to Shanghai was great. Had a lot of fun there. I learned Chinese. I made a lot of friends. Food's really cheap. I highly recommend studying abroad to anyone.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I guess since it was like still part of NYU, were the classes really similar or was it still like different?
I guess the only difference is that, well, it's an English speaking campus, so all the courses are taught in English. But the difference is that half of the school is mainland Chinese people, and half of the school is like international people studying abroad, including me. So, yeah, there's a really interesting dynamic. A lot of the friends you meet are going to be like, either a mainland Chinese person or someone from a completely different country, which is really awesome because you just get that kind of global presence in that campus. And it's really small. There's literally only one building in NYU Shanghai, and that's where everyone hangs out. So it's really easy to make friends.
Cool, cool. And I guess were you there for was it a semester or a year?
Just a semester. Yeah, just during my senior fall.
Cool. Were you able to travel to any other places or countries while you were there?
Hmm. So I couldn't go outside of China because of visa stuff, because you only had one entrance in, at least the ones that we were given. But within China, I did travel a little bit. So we had this like I don't know what you call it. In China, we have like this National Week holiday. I think it's celebrating like the birth of China. I might be completely wrong, but we have a week to go anywhere. So I ended up going to Hangzhou, Suzhou, and like a few other cities surrounding Shanghai. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. I just basically went with my friends and we went tourist mode, exploring all the different like fun like monuments nearby. And I also went to a few museums, I guess, which was cool.
Cool, cool. Yeah, and because I've done an exchange as well.
Really
I think it like really challenged you.
challenged me, like in what way?
I don't know. Like, I guess what did you miss from home? Let's like say.
Oh, when I was studying abroad, I definitely didn't think about home at all. So I didn't have to worry about like missing my family. I knew I'd see them in a little bit. Maybe the only challenge I experienced was like uh speaking Chinese more often. So even in my household, my parents speak to me in Chinese, but I usually kind of respond in English. And so in China, you kind of have to, get around and talk to locals and stuff like that. And so learning how to navigate the language was definitely like a barrier for me. But I definitely felt more comfortable by the time, I was done.
Yeah, I guess because like if you appear like say like Chinese, then they're gonna assume that like your Chinese is like really good, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Every store you walk in, they start speaking to you really quick and you just have to answer on your feet. Another thing is like when you register for apps, like there's a bunch of apps in China that you kind of need to have, like WeChat, there's like Mobike if you want to get around the city. You have to like be able to read everything in Chinese because all the setup is like what do you need, what's your name, your address, your credit card, whatever it is, you have to be able to like read everything. So that's also kind of an like I wasn't expecting that kind of challenge.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, I guess going into like your YouTube, like what made you want to start making videos?
Yeah, I think YouTube was originally it was like a fun side project that I wanted to work on. So I've heard of this concept where like a lot of ambitious people always have some sort of grand project that they're working on. That could be a YouTube channel, that could be a startup, that could be, creating some sort of interesting idea and making it a reality, like I don't know, like a nonprofit. So YouTube was that outlet for me. I wanted to create something on the side and work on it and slowly build on it over time. But it kind of transformed into this platform where I realized that it's really great for meeting people, kind of like meeting you, collabing with other creators, stuff like that. And so that has sort of become the most important component to me, just meeting other people. YouTube has a really interesting community, and a lot of times if people reach out, other YouTube creators are willing to like, you know, respond. So there's a really nice community going on.
Cool, cool. Like, do you watch a lot of YouTube or like who are your favorite creators at the moment?
I watch a ton of YouTube. Honestly, like since quarantine started, maybe like 5 hours a day. So I think my favorite YouTubers at the moment would probably be like Elliot Choi. He's been a really big inspiration to me. He's like this college YouTuber and he does all these really cinematic vlogs. And then another one would probably be like Casey Neistat. He's just great at storytelling, has some amazing like he has an amazing style, so I really appreciate that. And maybe one more, maybe Peter McKinnon. He's this photographer, and he has some really great cinematic visuals as well. So I guess the kind of common factor is I really like cinematography in like basic vlogs. So if you can do that, then I will watch you religiously.
Right, right. Is that like the kind of path you want to go down though? Because I feel like I don't know, the videos I've seen are more kind of just like talking in front of a camera, like which is fine, but
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I don't know what direction I want to go with my channel, but at the moment I'm taking like you said, for now I'm just talking in front of the camera, talking about software engineering or studying abroad or just tech in general. I guess it's more similar in lines of like all these tech YouTubers out there. There's Joma Tech, there's Mayuko, Jarvis Johnson, all these different tech YouTubers. I'm kind of going down that path, but I also want to explore the vlogging side of things. So I'm kind of at a crossroads. I don't know which path I'll go down, but for now, I know my niche is kind of tech because that has been the most popular kind of video on my channel so far.
yeah, I guess it's hard. It's always like finding a balance between like what does well and then what like you're really passionate about.
Yeah. I think you can be creative with it. Like, there's always a way to bridge the gap, but, sometimes you just have to experiment with one or the other and see what works.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I know you also have a podcast. Do you want to like talk about that? Like,
Ah, yeah. So I think a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I started this podcast with my friend. It's called the It's Over podcast, where we bring on guests to share their stories and grand projects with the world. So we bring on people who are like working at a law firm or have studied abroad in 5 different countries, or we brought on like the mayor of our city, or we brought on like a startup founder. There's all kinds of people with interesting stories to tell. So we basically invite people on every week and shoot a podcast episode, just unfolding their story. And I will say we kind of are on hiatus because our last episode was in December and it's currently March. So we've kind of taken a break. But maybe in the future we'll invite some more people and we'll see where it goes.
cool, cool. Yeah. I guess so. You have had some really interesting people. So I was interested to know, like, how do you go about getting guests? Like, do you just email them or?
Yeah, most of our guests are friends of friends or friends in general. And so we already have I at least have a pretty good network, I think, because I've been in college. I've graduated already. I've met a lot of people. NYU is really diverse. So most of it's from my network or my co-host's network. But the last like 3 or 4 episodes, we cold emailed like people that we've never talked to before. Um, but yeah, cold emailing is the way to go. I mean, we've had a pretty good success rate. I'd say maybe like 50%, so it's not too bad. Um, but yeah, that's the way to go, I think.
Yeah, I feel like cold emails emailing is really underrated.
Yeah, I mean, you cold emailed me, right? And yeah, it works.
Doesn't always work for me. I think it depends on who it is, but like I find that most people like if they have a podcast and if they have a YouTube, then they're more open to like talking to other people.
Definitely. If you have some sort of creative outlet, like if you write, if you make YouTube videos, anything really, I think you're just a lot more receptive because you know how it feels to cold email other people and you want to reciprocate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I was also wondering because you've done some internships as well. Like, do you just want to talk about your experience with those and like how, I don't know, how they helped you or how you went about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a computer science major, I was, and my first like tech internship was after my sophomore year. So I went to this small e-commerce startup that specializes in like wedding and party supplies, and that was an interesting experience because it was my first like tech kind of position. And so I just worked on the software engineering side of that. We had like the Shopify platform, and I was responsible for adding new features to make it more like Amazon, where it encourages you to buy stuff in bundles, and that way it would convert more sales and stuff like that. And yeah, that was my first kind of experience in tech. And then the next summer after that, I ended up going to JP Morgan for my software engineering internship. And so there I worked on building APIs. Uh, I worked on this platform called Jupyter Notebooks. It's a whole story. But basically, I built internal tools that helped other people in the org, like traders and quants, to more effectively do their job. And that was a great internship because it was my first like corporate, like really big name company internship. I think I remember on orientation day there were like 1,000 people dressed sharply in business attire, and it was really fascinating how all these people from all these different corners of the globe came together in just one room. So yeah, really fun internship. Nothing but good things to say. And I guess now I'm at Roblox. I haven't started yet, but I'll be starting soon.
Right, cool. Oh, do you also kind of want to just I don't know, like talk about maybe like why you decided to go to Roadblocks?
Yeah, absolutely. So after I graduated, I actually didn't have a full-time job lined up. So I spent the next few months just interviewing at various tech companies, finance companies, startups in general. And definitely during like this quarantine COVID season, it's been difficult just to like, land a job. So I was pretty desperate. I applied to 300 different jobs and I got two offers. One was at a vehicle company, one was at Roblox. So Roblox's offer was way higher than the other offer, and I think it's just everything about it, you know, appealed to me more. The location, it was in the Bay, the size, it was a smaller company that I could grow with, the mission, like creating the platform for play. Like all of these seemed more exciting to me, so I ended up going with Roblox.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think it's important that you mention like you did hundreds of applications because I feel like people don't realize how much work actually like gets put into just getting like one offer.
Right, yeah, there's a whole like slew of rejections and failures before you land that one offer, but you only need one offer, and once you get that, then you're good.
That's true. Yeah. And ultimately I feel like if you don't get a role, sometimes it's like it's not meant for you.
Okay, yeah, that's one way to see it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to ask about people like I guess like the city that they're from. Like what are your favorite spots like in LA? Like maybe if someone were to come and visit.
Yeah, I always struggle with this question because maybe growing up here all my life means that I've grown comfortable with the area, and that means I don't explore it as much as I should. But if I have to recommend spots, like okay, I guess we can start with like food. You got to go to In and Out at least once. It's pretty good. I don't know what other people think, but In and Out's the bomb. And then Boiling Point is another restaurant I love. Hot Pot, um, just amazing food there. So those are my top two spots for food. If you just want to have like fun, I mean, hmm, LA. I mean, we have like Griffith Observatory, which is like this big park slash, astronomy center. And you can like, there's a really nice view at night. So that's a really popular destination. We also have the Getty, the museum, which is like a really, really beautiful, free, like touristy spot. So I recommend going there as well. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll go to LA.
Yeah, you should visit.
I guess just finally, do you have any advice for like students that are maybe applying to internships or like full-time jobs at the moment?
Wow. Yeah. Oh, for sure, a lot. I think number one piece of advice would be to apply early. So if you don't know tech, most big tech companies recruit like between August and November, December. So there's a really tight gap when you should be applying. And so you don't want to be too late. You always want to apply early. And you want to have as many overlapping interviews and offers as possible. And the reason you want this is because let's say you only have one offer on the line and the offer is not as adequate as you would like, you would want to bump up the numbers. Well, now you have no negotiation leverage. But let's say you have 10 offers on the table. All of a sudden, that one offer, that first offer you might get, which might not be as good as you'd like it to be, you can always go back to them and say, hey, another company offered me an even better package, would you be willing to bump it up? And you can have so much negotiation power just by having multiple offers within the same time window, and that's really important. Another piece of advice is probably just leak code. If you are, this is for specifically for software engineering interns, but like you have to put in the work at least do 150 problems if you want to be comfortable like acing these technical interviews. You have to be really quick on your feet, so leak code is the way. Best resource out there.
Right, right. So I think like you're kind of just saying like give yourself like the best chance, right? Don't.
Yeah, definitely. You have to meet a certain threshold, and if you just want to, you have to have the raw skill, and so the best way, just practice all these different algorithms and stuff like that.
Right, right. Yeah, it sounds like a very kind of competitive process.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe one other thing that I've kind of learned from all my interviews is that this isn't specific to software engineers, but like in general, if you're applying to internships, usually there'll be some sort of like behavior around. I found it really helpful if you do a little bit of research on the company itself. So be able to answer like why this company, right? Right off the top of your head. And what I like to do is I like to create a Google Doc. I like to write in bullet points exactly like at least 3 or 5 reasons about why this company specifically. And that will make your interviews a lot smoother. I think people are in the behavioral round, they're not hard to pass, but if you're not prepared with that one question, you might not make it past, and you don't want that to be the downfall.
Yeah, for sure. I think they can like kind of tell if you don't really know like what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I guess are you open to people like contacting you or like how can people get in touch?
Yeah, I'm always down for people to reach out to me. I guess you can reach out to me on Instagram at richard.shu, SHU, and then I have a YouTube channel as well, so youtube.com/richardshu productions, or just Richard Shu on YouTube. You can also find me that way, and you know, yeah, always open to feedback or whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, well that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So I'll link your all your stuff down below so people can go check out your YouTube and your podcast and yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. It was nice talking to you, Catherine.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Bye.